here is the string manipulation workflow that is set up with all the actions listed in order. So you can see if I go here, search for the string, so you can see all the actions here in order. You have the string, concat, the capitalize, the length, width, the URL, and all. Yeah, so all of them have been set up already here. So let's start from the top. The first one is combining. It's used to combine, that is to concatenate two strings. You put in it takes two variables, the first value and the second value. This can be used in maybe you want to use it to make up a password, something like that. A password made up of maybe the first name and the first name and maybe the email address makes the password. Or maybe you want to get the first name and the last name and you concatenate the two of them to be a full name, something like that. You just need to get the two variables and you set them up in these fields. Those are the two values taken by this action as parameter. Basically, it's a function that helps to join two variables. We go to the capitalize. The capitalize, it turns the string that you send as parameter, it turns the first letter of the string to capital and the rest to lowercase. So the first one will become uppercase while the rest will become lowercase. That's capitalized. So it can be used on maybe on names, on first name and last name stuff to capitalize them. Then you have the I ends with. The I ends with, it searches for a string. It takes two parameters, the string and the suffix. So the suffix is the string, the maybe the set of characters, the string that you want to search, the word that you want to search in the string that you are passing. Say for instance, you have a sentence. You want to check if the sentence ends with maybe a full stop, then you can put the suffix as a full stop. So here in this case, I'm using something like the email contact to search if the contact ends with com. If the email ends with .com, if it ends with .com, it's going to return true. If it doesn't end with .com, it's going to return false. Basically, this one will return true or false if if the suffix is actually at the end of this string that we've passed as parameter. Then we have the URL add argument. Basically, you can use this one to pass parameters to a link. You can use this in the case where maybe you have a form that we want to pass some parameter on the form. So we can put the name of the argument. You can put the name of the argument even as a custom field or whatsoever. We put the name of the argument, then we put the value. When it does that, you're going to have at the end something like the link and the argument passed with the value of the argument. Then we go to the next, which is the trim string. So the trim string returns true or false based on the search. So it's going to search for the character that you want to search here. It's going to search if this text that you've put starts with this character. So it's also, you have to respect the letter case. So if it's capital, it's supposed to search for capital. If it's small, so if this word starts with capital G, it's going to return false since we are searching for small g here. Now, so the word I was searching for is case sensitive. So it's case sensitive. If you want to search for capital G, you use capital G. If you want to search for small g, you use small g in here. And maybe this can be used to search for a particular contact. Maybe you want to search for contacts starting with a particular letter. You can say you want all the contacts starting with A, or you want all the people in the city starting with C, or you want all the people with maybe phone number starting with this number. So you can just pass in the number parameter, then you put the character it's going to search and return true or false based on the search result. Then we have the get arg. the get URL are, which is basically getting the value of the argument in the link. So if there are arguments in this link, if there's any argument in this link, it's going to return the value of that argument. Say for instance, a link has been given, or maybe a link, you have a link which has parameters being passed on. You can use this action to grab the value returned by that parameter in the link. Like here we have this example, this is a link, this is a URL, then this is a parameter passed, the name is equal to text. So what this action will return is the value contained in the argument name, which is going to be test. So we can also use this maybe on webhooks or API, so stuff like that, to know to get the values that which are being returned. Then we have the string index. So the string index is used to find the index of a string. So you can have a text that you want to search for a particular word in that text. You can use this in the case where maybe an email comes in, you want to search for the position, the index where the person has said yes. So if at all the person said yes in the comment, in the message, if at all the message comes in. So if we have a text and we want to search for a particular word in the text, we just it's going to return, this action is going to return the index, that's the position of the word in the text, the position that the first letter of the word occupies in the text is going to return as an index. If in this name there is a letter an, it's going to return the position at which the first letter a, if the word an exists, it's going to return from the position of a. We have string contents. So this searches for a character or an item in the text. And if that is present, like if it is verifiable, then the result is going to be here we have the text, which is a name, and we are searching for the character a in here. So if there is a in the name, it's going to return true. If there is no a, it's going to return false. Then we have the split string. So the split string basically it takes a set of maybe a sentence, and it can cut off the sentence, like using the limit to scrap. Yes, that's the word. You can scrape the sentence and get some particular uh, words or some strings that you want to get recover from the sentence following the delimiter, and it's going to return these different portions. It's going to return the different portions separated by commas. So for instance, we have tag 1, tag 2, tag 3, and we have the delimiter list. So it's just like we want to break up this whole string into portions. So everywhere we see this is going to break. Everywhere the action sees this is going to break, and it's going to return the result of all the portions separated by commas. Then we have the replace. We have the replace. How does the replace work? It's used to replace maybe a character in a word with another stuff, another character that we are going to enter. So it takes a string, it searches for a character, then it replaces with another. So we may want to maybe a set of information comes in, and we want to replace maybe all the commas inside by maybe a hyphen. Then we are going to say, for instance, I want to replace this comma, so I'll search for comma replaced by this hyphen. So at the end, it's going to replace this comma by the hyphen. We have the L index. The L index is going to return the first position and is case insensitive. So whatever you enter here is going to search for that word, be it capital or lowercase, be it upper or lowercase, it's going to search for that word in here and return the first occurrence here. We have the string length. So the string length will basically return the number of characters that we have in the word or in the string in a set of the parameter that we enter here. We may want to count maybe the number of characters in a message, in an SMS, for instance. Then we are going to put in the SMS content here. Then we count. It's going to return the number of characters, exactly the number of characters found in that content. I starts with it takes a parameter that is a string, then we have a prefix which is the search parameter. So this one basically will search for G in this pattern. It's going to search for G in this at the beginning. So if G is at the top at the start of this pattern, then it's going to return true. Then we have the I contents. You can basically use this one maybe to verify a basic. It's true that it's not really optimized, but you can use it like the example I'm trying to give is not optimized, but you can use it maybe to check a basic for emails if there is no sign in the content. So if there is no at sign in the content, then it's going to return false. If there is, it returns true. So it basically returns true or false if the search is present or not. So we have a text and we want to search for a particular character in there. It returns true if it sees it, it returns false if it doesn't see it. So if we want to check this as an example, verifying if this is an email, it searches for add in this text. If it doesn't see it, it's going to return false. And false, we know that it's not an email. If it's true, we know that it could be an email, then we could maybe proceed with other stuff. We have the query pass. The query pass simply grabs all the parameters passed in a URL and creates a sort of JSON JSON parameter suite. So after this, you're going to see an example. So it grabs this. You could use this as a URL with parameters, then it's going to return a JSON. So the JSON now could help maybe to set up some API or whatsoever. So this as it's going to return this as a JSON. Then we have the strip HTML. It's going to strip every HTML tag that we have in the text. For instance, we there are times that we want to do some scraping, but the email body want to do some scraping on email bodies, but the email body that comes in comes with tags. When they come with tags, now we might need to start checking, maybe checking if we want to use a replace, we have to replace this character, we have to check for this character, we check for this, and we try to replace, which is really cumbersome. But with the HTML tag replace, it's going to remove all the HTML tags, no matter the type of HTML tag it finds in here, it's going to remove and leave just the text. Then we have the check string. So the check string, it checks it's not so different from the there's one we've seen up here, the I start. Yeah. So it's not so different from the I start. But now the I start is different from this one in that I start deals with characters, while the check string deals with strings. So it's you can use the whole word in check string, while in the I start you can use just characters. So basically they are same. It's going to check for this word in this string if the word is in there. If this string contains a word, it's going to return true. If not, it's going to return false. Then we have the S to uppercase. So it basically converts all this word, all the text in here to uppercase. We have text to lowercase, it converts all these words to lowercase. We have the URL has argument. It detects if the URL that has been passed has an argument. Like if there is an argument passed in, then it will return true. If there is no argument, it returns false. So this can help maybe by in testing if you like, for instance, we have cases where we do referrals and all, so we could test maybe the referral link before sending to somebody. If the link is not legit, maybe we can do some other stuff. If there's no parameter passed, we can do this. If there's a parameter passed. So that's just an example, but this is briefly what it does. It collects the URL and checks if it has parameters passed, then it's going to return true. If there's no parameter, it returns false. We have the trim text. So trim text, at times we might have maybe doing scraping or API returns, we might have some text coming back with spaces at the beginning and at the end, or maybe where when copying and pasting, we might have some stuff at the beginning, some space at the beginning and at the end. So you can use this action to trim the beginning and the end of the whole text that we pass in here. Even we can use this even for SMSs, just so we can avoid that there is space at the end or at the beginning that is taking more characters for the SMS. So we can use this, is going to trim any space that is at the beginning or at the end of the text. And that is that for all the actions. And if you check into the notes, you're going to see we've tried to list all the return result for each of the actions with the result respective name and the result here. We ran a test, you can check under contact Gaitan Vianney. You're going to check, you see, for instance, we have the Concat. By coming back to the start, the string concat. So we had the string, we had the second value, first value, second value. So the first value is the first name, second value is the number. So it concatenates. Then we have the capitalize as set. The capitalize turns just the first letter to capitalize. That's what was passed, and that is what has been returned. Then the IN, we have the IN. Does this email end with .com? It returns true. So that is basically it. You can see the result for example the test. So if we go to get argument, search for get argument here. Yes, get your argument. So the argument value was test. So it returns test here. So you can see each and every action that was tested. You can see the returns here. For the index return for the replace and all to like, everything was tested, and these are the various values. So if we go to the query string, go to the query string one, the string, you notice that this is the link and these are the parameters. The form that it returns is a JSON. You can see that's the JSON that has been returned, which is this. So we have the variable, the value, variable, value, yeah. As an argument through index, the string length, I stats, I contents, and so on. Yeah, that's basically it. If you run another test, just so you can test the workflow, you just need to come under the contact. You go under the contact, then you check the notes. You're going to see the results of the tests of each action listed.